political history, JMGM Tom Adams, who represented the constituency of St. Thomas for many years. And after him, one of the finest attorneys general this country has known, Sir David Simmons. And this mother springs from that proud Barbados Labour Party tradition. This party has nothing to be ashamed of. And this party has so much to be proud of. So stand proudly tonight, for when we have been down, we have banded together. And now that we feel that we are on the threshold of history, a movement to restore this country from its days of dread. We thought that 5 years would have been a short time, but 5 years has felt like 50 years of hardship under Frindo Stewart and David Thompson, and we must restore this country to the country that we knew it always could have been and will be again. And that is why it gives me profound displeasure to bring that mother of St. Thomas, that lady who has represented the interests of those people of Central Barbados, who has carried the interests of this party for many, many years, even before she was a member of Parliament. It delights me to present to you and to introduce to you, to speak on behalf of her sister, I believe Ms. Forde is with us. Is she with us? And I believe she's ready. Is she ready? But I want you, Christchurch West, to be ready. Are you ready to restore? Are you ready to rescue? And do you believe that come February 22nd, the process of rebuilding will begin? Do you believe it? And will you be a part of that journey? Is Christchurch West going to be joined with St. Thomas? And will we get there safely? And will we get there under the leadership of O.C. Arthur? And will we send into political demise Frindo Stewart? And will we bypass the representative for the Democratic Labour Party in this constituency? We will bypass her. If you hear me on the point of calling her name tonight, please stop me. But the name that I wish to call, and the name that I so proudly call, the heart and soul of St. Thomas, the heart and soul of this great Barbados Labour Party, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I bring to you Cynthia Forde.
Crime son, Dirty Andrew, Rob Soldier again. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Bears, open your eyes and hold out your head. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Times get hard, hurt in my head. We need a change.
A wonderful good night to you, the folk of Christchurch West, and of course the surrounding communities, and to the wonderful people of the environs here near to Bridgetown, the garrison. I want to bring you warmest greetings from St. Thomas and to let you know that we are going to add another woman or two in the House of Assembly whenever you see the 22nd of February comes. And I refer specifically to Dr. Maria Agard, a humble woman, a young, beautiful, and brilliant woman whom I think can make a tremendous difference carrying on from where Dr. Duguid has left off, and indeed from where Sir Henry Forde has left off. And you've had a Forde in the lineup, always a good Forde right there. I know that you, the folk of St. Matthias and Harris Gap and the surrounding communities, would have been feeling similar hardships and indeed experiences that people across the length and breadth of Barbados have been experiencing. Hardship with limited funds in your pocket to spend as a result of these draconian measures, I call them, that the Democratic Labour Party has imposed on the people of Barbados, having come to the fore to say, we are going to lead you through pathways to progress. And for me, you are going through a kind of pathway that leads to decay. Not only decay in your quality of life, but indeed decay in the morals in this society. Families are breaking up as a result of the poor policies and programs that they have presented. For when a man or woman lose work, lose their employment, as a result of businesses collapsing, and there's nobody in the home as a major breadwinner to look after the needs of the children and other members of the family, well, then you are in this bind, and you're in this vice, and you cannot get out. But who has put you in it? Because I want to reflect on where we were and where we are now and where we hope to go. We came in as a government in 1994 with the highest unemployment rate you can imagine, at ranging 24-25% at that time. And Owen Arthur, as Prime Minister, now the Right Honourable Owen Seymour Arthur, with a team of members of Parliament, formed the government and determined that the first order of the day would be job number one is jobs. And true to his word, job number one was the creation of, at the end of the 14-year period, over 30,000 Barbadians received employment as a result of the policies and programs instituted by Owen Arthur and the Barbados Labour Party. We knew that in 1994 our salaries were cut by 8%. We knew that the International Monetary Fund had put forward proposals for house rent in the housing units to be increased, for bus fare to be increased, for road tax to be increased, and a number of other areas where increases would have impacted on our pockets that were already cut by 8%. And what is interesting is that over those 14 years of good governance under the Barbados Labour Party, no bus fare was increased, no land tax, road tax, house rents in the housing units were increased. But a Democratic Labour Party came to the fore and said, oh, we want change. We want to have equity, transparency, accountability, trust, fairness, and all the other buzzwords. I can't call them anything else but buzzwords for them. And lo and behold, the first order of the day was to increase even the liquor licenses for community groups, where community groups are trying to raise funds through voluntary efforts to be able to have aspects of living, upgrading in those communities. Even that was raised from $50 per occasion to $100, and still is the case. But the poor shop owners, theirs was raised from $350 to $1,000 per year. And the poor shopkeepers were cringing under the pressure of the Democratic Labour Party. But that wasn't all. Professional fees went up under the Dems in this period between 2008 and now. So when you might have to go to the doctor, fees went up because their annual fees were increased sometimes by more than 150%. Even the funeral director, his professional fees went up to, I think, $1,500. And if he doesn't pay on time to meet the deadline at the ending of January, it went up to $2,500. Look at immigration, at how passports and work permits have gone up. I had the interesting experience last week for someone to show me a document where a lady went for a work permit and that work permit cost $12,600. Who received the money? And why would a person coming to Barbados to seek employment have to pay that kind of large, exorbitant amount of money for a work permit? The other thing that they did that showed that they did not really care about people is for the late Prime Minister then, pomposetting as he normally did, to indicate that there will be a new immigration policy and the targeting of ordinary persons living among us, some 40 and 50 years in existence living here, to be told you can't get health services for free. If the ambulance comes for you, you have to pay $175. I'm not talking about FMH's ambulance or Dr. Sparman's if he has one. I'm talking about or the Island Care. I'm talking about the ambulance at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And there are thousands of persons among us, some married to Barbadians, some the spouses of Barbadians, some the children born in Barbados are now taxpayers who, when they go to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, they cannot get treatment for free. So like my helper, who has a son that is now 23, a daughter 20, and another one 12 going on 13, gave birth to those 3 children in the time of the Barbados Labour Party. And lo and behold, to deliver her last baby, who is now 2 years old, she had to put $3,500 in the hands of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. In order to deliver that last baby, she never paid a blind cent for the delivery of the others. And for people to have serious injury on the road, who is going to determine who will pay the money? We cannot afford to treat the non-nationals among us in that manner. We cannot afford to wake them up in the stark dead night to break down their doors, if that is what I understand is happening, and to take them to the airport and put them in a cell and send them back. You're not dealing with cows, even cows and horses belonging to certain people in Barbados traveling air-conditioned trucks. And poor ordinary people are being taken away, taken to the airport and sent back to their homes unceremoniously. But you know what? Who are they? Basically, the Guyanese were targeted. You hear? Ever so welcome, wait for a call. And the Guyanese were sent home. There are St. Lucians and Vincentians and so whom I believe are meeting the same challenge. But I cringe when I see the number of black children now with Chinese eyes in Barbados. Who is dealing with the Chinese population? The numbers are growing. And then this government had the audacity last year, twice, because there were 2 induction ceremonies. I attended the first, because once they invite me, I am going, and they have to stare me down, and I stare them down too, because I am a born Barbadian, here for more than 70 years, and nobody will come and run me, not even the St. Lucian in Parliament cannot run me. I belong here. My name is Stringberry here, and I will speak when I want to. Tell her don't trouble me. Tell her don't trouble me, because I never look good at her husband either if she feels I don't look at him properly. And he didn't look at her properly either. Leave me alone, girl. I have a serious problem. Non-nationals are human beings too, who should be given the dignity that they deserve. And you know what? This same government, having done that, has caused a lot of the non-nationals among us to go underground. So some are hiding somewhere. Others have gone back voluntarily and building back Guyana. Correct, but you know what? It is to our detriment. Because some Barbadians are of the belief that the fact that they might have got their free education, that they digging into the earth and planting food to help to reduce the import bill on in our country is degrading and demeaning. The Guyanese were doing it for us successfully. The vegetables and the fruits and the various things that they were doing to be able to raise money for themselves, to send back home to their families. Tell me what you think would have happened if the government of New York, the government in Canada, the government in other parts of the world, in London and so, decided that all the Bajans that are coming there are going to be a threat to the society for their health and education, and send back all those who are now living there that make money and send back home the remittances and have been doing it for many, many generations. And that is uplifting our society. They send the barrels, they send the funds, they send everything. What would happen if those countries just took up people and sent them home unceremoniously? We have to make sure that our policies work. And then this immigration thing has gone so far that 2 ministers get up and talk too fast. And now the taxpayers of Barbados are saddled in their pockets with money to pay the CCJ and to pay all these agencies over a shanique. It is wrong. An officer now has to go and give evidence simply because open mouth story jump out from those 2 persons who should have known better. They have education more so than I. I hardly went to the pipe, but I've been to the University of Common Sense. I am not even going to deal with what the Prime Minister said. I'm not going to deal with the education too much, except to say I want the government of Barbados to bring back pride and respect and dignity to Barbados' name, as it has been all the years in the region, where we always paid up our dues for the University of the West Indies. Jamaica used to be lagging behind, and we understood they had a structural adjustment situation. Trinidad was lagging behind a little bit, but Barbados was always paid up to date, and the University of the West Indies was running effectively. Now they are, according to my knowledge, scaling back on programs, and they're paying the staff later now per month than before, because the government owes them close to $200 million. But that's not the only person they owe. You know, Barack still waiting for his. George H.L. waiting for his. Another stupid thing that they did. Evelina King is waiting for hers. Peter Scott is waiting for his. And they're saddling the government with more and more money. And then they're saying, we can't do anything about cost of living. Oh, the recession is all over the world. We are in the recession and suffering. You can look at them and see they're not suffering, you know. Because there are at least 4 of them who look to me like they're wearing a bulletproof vest under the jacket. Big stomach, big neck. And Barbadians are out there cringing. A lady called me yesterday morning. Before I could step through the door to do my canvassing, and she said, Miss Forde, is there any way you can help me? I said, has something gone wrong? Because once you help me now, you believe she wants to ride to the hospital. She said, no, I would like to get some canned foods. And they said, what are you looking at? I was expecting her to say tuna fish and so on. She said mackerel. And I'm not decrying mackerel, because I ate good mackerel. That's why I was never sick in all these years that I was living. But when she said that, I said, you know, something has to be seriously wrong in the household. When I checked, father not working, mother not working, children of school age, light ready to cut off, water ready to cut off, and this government says it is a government interested in building a society and not an economy. And people are out there doing all kinds of negative things at times to be able to eke out some money to put food on the table to feed their children. So I don't know where the transparency is. I don't know where the good governance is. I don't know where the equity is. Because if you're talking equity, I know that, Dr. Maria, you have to have some houses from rural. They're not giving me any, and I'm seen as a big bad wolf sometimes because I am frightened for a fella. My mother, my father are dead, and I was only frightened for them because I didn't have anywhere else to live. So I was never rude or anything to them. But anybody else knows that I am not afraid. If I am not getting houses that prepare, Dr. Maria, you're not getting it either. You might have a little bit of you onto urban Barbados, but urban isn't giving you anything either. Dr. Dugan's campaign houses up there, damaged, not damaged, but it had in 2 families ever since Hurricane Thomas, October 2010. And the government is dangling keys in front of everybody and putting the plight of poor people up on a television station that belongs to them. And those 2 families up there are not getting any ease. For me, that would have been the first order of business. Not a minister saying at that time, we're going to fix the houses in Philip first. We're going to fix the houses in Christchurch first, and then any others. So I still have houses in St. Thomas with no house top. But those 2 families in a small house that was a campaign house, eking out to survive as a result of a government that does not care. And then a minister called Jean Voice is going to say to the public, It is because of the house that belongs to Dr. Duguay that we can't complete the highway. Move out the people, put them in a decent housing unit. The woman who took off the lock of the house with her children got shelter over her head. Give that family the house that Garcia has. Give the family the house that Garcia has. Because we don't know anything about him, but he should not be treated unkindly either. But that family cannot live the quality life that he is. They don't have any TV like he does. He gets somebody to prepare his meals for him. Everything is there on a platter. I want for this government, well, I can't say so now, because everything is shut down now. And therefore, but before I wrap up, you know that this government moved the Rural Development Commission that was stationed in the Omni Center in St. Peter. And on a monthly basis, they paid less than $10,000 in rent for the facility. Do you know that rural development that should be in rural Barbados is now stationed in the heart of Bridgetown? And rather than under $10,000 in rent per month, you don't want to guess, ladies and gentlemen, how much money you're paying? $52,000 every month for the Rural Development Commission to come from St. Peter and come into Bridgetown. I can't add or subtract, but you know how much difference that is per month. And if you multiply 52,000 by 12, you know it is past $500,000 per month a year that is being paid out of the coffers of the government. And that's not all. Youth Affairs was in a section of the Ministry of Education that belongs to the government. Youth Affairs has been moved out and carried up to the center in Haggett Hall, paying thousands of dollars per month. But what is Youth Affairs doing? Because I can understand if you're expanding and you need more space, you might want to move. But Youth Affairs has done nothing in St. Thomas in 5 years. All they have done is taken the youth commissioners, that would have been the eyes and the ears in the communities where they live, and scatter them so that the youth commissioner for St. Michael South was sent up to Christchurch South. And my youth commissioner for St. Thomas went up to St. George. And the one in St. John probably went on St. Lucie. And the fallacy was, oh, they're acolytes of the Barbados Labour Party. And Youth Affairs has been moved and paying large, or what you call exorbitant sums of rental every month to please the friends and families, I believe, of the Democratic Labour Party. And when I heard the concept friends and families first, I was captivated because I love family. And I thought it was something that you could join, how you could join the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis or so. And then when I learned families first, mate, you got to be family to somebody in the government. And in order for you to get a job, or in order for you to get a house, in order for you to get your yard paved or your road to your house, you have to be a friend or family of the Dems. So you must understand. Good, thank you, darling. God be with you. Listen to how the families first thing were. There are 4 ministers in this government. F-O-U-R, 4. And the 4 ministers, the sister of the one in Christchurch, Rhonda, that sister, the sister of the minister up there, she is his personal assistant. The one in St. Philip, the sister is his personal assistant. The one in St. Lucie, I am told the wife is his personal assistant. The one, Little Caesar, his sister-in-law is his personal assistant. I have a problem, Dr. Maria Agard, for when you win the seat, don't look at the families first. There are people out there in the trenches getting cursed for you every night. There has to be somebody bright and sharp enough that can walk with you and advise you and can act on your behalf, that you can assist. Because the Labour Party does not look at family first. Glenn Murray was a senator. No family of his was there working as his personal assistant. I had a young man who used to be in the Defense Force. He is from St. Thomas. He was bright and he fitted the profile. And therefore he worked with me. My nephew could have been my PA too. My niece was bright. She could have been my PA too. But you don't want people under your family, or you carrying a passport from your political party in order to get a job, in order to get a house, in order to do whatever you have to do. So the family first thing is killing this country, and we will see how it has caused the demise of the Democratic Labour Party. Now, I talked about equity earlier, and I want to say, Dr. Maria, you only get a road fix. Because this Democratic Labour Party believes that because we are in opposition, the 9 of us shouldn't get a road through rural nor MTW. That we should not be able to get houses fixed. That we should not be able to get persons go up for training in the same Rural Development Commission or the youth mainstreaming program or anything. And I think it is wrong. I have had the reason to be able to start looking at preparing a road in St. Thomas, regular highway leading to Harrison's Cave. The men at MTW are excellent, those at Bagatelle. Dr. Maria, develop a relationship with your people in your depots. Develop a relationship with the men and women in sanitation. Develop a relationship with those at NCC, and on the side you will get things done. But if a minister has to do it for you, because you are in opposition, you will suck salt, and the Labour Party never practiced that kind of dingy politics. We always made sure that constituencies across the length and breadth of Barbados, whoever represented them, were given a fair share of the cake. And that is why the inclusion, the politics of inclusion, work for Barbadians and not the segregation of people. She is blue and yellow, he is black, red, all kind of nonsense. After February the 22nd, all of us have to be one Barbados, working in the interest of having a cohesive approach and pulling our people together. And I think it is wrong the way that they are doing it. I also want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that I have a tremendous difficulty. I don't want to talk about the houses at Coverley. I mean, I don't have enough time for that. But when I saw the cost for the houses in August 2010, I almost had a conniption. Properties at the Coverley called the Villages, a 3-bedroom house at that time was $333,000, nearly $334,000. And the 2-bedroom, $282,000. And your income, in order for you to meet the criteria to get one of these houses, you had to be working for $4,500 a month, between $4,500 and $6,000. And then you were given a 30-year mortgage. And that 30-year mortgage, you had to put in, if you wanted, a $30,000 in order for you to get furniture. So I believe, I don't know, it is a fact, but let me say it is alleged, because everybody want money now. And I never got to pay for my campaign, but God can send money to me, because I can use my shares from BNB, because I ain't going in a fella pocket. I ain't going in a fella pocket to be able to win the seat in St. Thomas again. I've never done it before. I ran 3 times already. I'm going to do it again. I will never do it either. But when you go and you get a 30-year mortgage, then you're being told you can ask for an additional $30,000, because I don't know, but it is alleged that some of those persons who are building the houses may have gone to Brandsmart or Costco's or Lowe's or somewhere when they had a massive sale. And of course they bought perhaps 200 washing machines, 200 dryers, 200 sofas or whatever, so that when you go in the house, the furniture in my house, Dr. Maria, like the one in Roseanne's house, look like the one in Wendy's house, look like the one in Glenn's house. I don't want that. I want creativity. And then to borrow $30,000 in a mortgage for furniture that will depreciate. Because once you have a little child, your furniture is going to get destroyed. But you're going to pay for that for a 30-year period. We want creativity. We want our people to use their initiative. And the minister who seems to be thinking that because he wanted to build 100 houses in 100 days, 100 houses in 100 days is the top brass man. I call those houses the domino effect. God help Barbados if we get a hurricane or if we get an earthquake. As one house falls, the other one will go down and go down and go down. We don't want that to happen. For me, that is a retirement village for a little old gentleman and a little old lady to be close to one another. Line that don't suit you. For if you had to go in one of them to live and you had to have grand time for Valentine's, you can't make any noise. No noise at all. I love to fry fish cakes. And if I go and find a few fish cakes to give to the little community clubs, my fish cakes are going to smell 20 houses down. Because the houses are so close. And I condemn that kind of building. It does not suit our culture. We like for our undergarments to be put out in the sun and the wind and let the wind and so blow them. No, you can't do that up at Corverley. Those houses are not built for you, the ordinary man, when you see what you have to bring to the table in order for you to meet the criteria. Now, the Minister of Youth Affairs and Culture, he's into sports, youth, sports and culture, brought some legislation late last year, like Mr. Murray in a hurry, not like Glenn Murray, he's always decent. But that minister came pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And he came with this antiquity bills with the relics and so. And the public learned if they took out relics from Barbados without the knowledge of the government or the agency that is put up to oversee, there can be a fine, a large fine, years in prison and so on and so forth. I want for the same culture minister who talked about the historic garrison that has gone and changed the name that will bear a part of the history by changing the name of the school. I want that minister to tell me tonight, what happened to the chandeliers at Government House? Chandeliers that I know would be more than a century years old. More than 100 years old. And to my certain knowledge, the document here, and let the cameras pick up who the body is that get the contract, but his family's first. February 2012, please find invoice for supplying 1 12-arm Waterford crystal chandelier and 2 6-arm Waterford chandeliers for Government House as per our quoted date of February 6, 2012. $91,000 in a structural adjustment time, and you can't send school your children properly. You know why? They can get the free bus fare. But when they get to school, you're not working. Your husband not working. Some fathers won't give the children anything. Grandmother is not working either, but her pension feeding the household. So when your child goes to school, nothing to eat. But $91,000 to cherish the chandeliers at Government House. I want to find out from the government tonight, where are the chandeliers that were removed? What was wrong with them? And in whose house can we now see the chandeliers? Can't be in mine. Can't be in yours. And the families first again get the contract. That is how the Democratic Labour Party operates in these times when people are feeling it and they're cringing to the bone. I was on to Families First and I forget, the canteens at the school. There's a lady in Christchurch who had the canteen at St. Leonard's before the government changed. And she got a message coming through from some minister, to tell her, don't even seek to apply again, because you ain't getting none. But you see, this body sister got 5. The next body brother got 2. For the summer camps, they tell me that they understand our parliamentarian now was a caterer. And the catering for the summer camps for only 28 days a year, the catering was more than $3.5 million each year. And when you total how much was spent in summer camps, over $30 million. And who benefited? Not the children who were to be targeted, the caterers, and who got transport and things of that nature. Dr. Maria, they're telling me that my time is going. I don't know why you all bring me to these meetings and then give me only a little bit of time, but I am happy for the opportunity, because when it comes to a woman, I believe that women can walk the walk and talk the talk with men, because we can bring into Parliament of Barbados a measure of balance, a measure of representation that is different from a lot of others. Now you saw, I could continue, thank you darling. I nearly wrapped up on what my Prime Minister said about me. I want you to know that the women can hold the shots, can call the shots and hold the fort. And we are not there to challenge the men, but we are there to work with them hand in hand. And I want Margot to know that. I want Cynthia to be aware of that. I want Sandra husbands to be aware of that. I want all the women in Parliament And I suspect that all of them will walk up the steps and create history again in Barbados. A Barbados Labour Party with 7 women going up the steps of Parliament can make a tremendous difference, because we tried the men in the Dems and they have proved wanting and win in the balance. I believe that the women can go in there and do 3 times better than those men. Look at the failures of the Dems so now. They curse us and say 14 years and nothing to show. Dennis Kelman said, oh, if the transport board could really meet the needs of the people, we would not have those extra $60,000 in 60,000 cars on the road that the Barbados Labour Party caused people to bring in. Now, I believe he got 3 houses at his house, 3 cars at his house, I believe he got 3 cars at his house. But a poor man working at a hotel, leaving at 11 o'clock, got to get downtown, the last bus is 11 o'clock, you got to pay a taxi to get home. Women who are working in other industries that have to go early or come in late or take their children to school, when after had the economy in Barbados perking and all these cylinders pounding, construction, agriculture was doing well too, but the international business sector, millions of dollars were turning over in there and generating employment. Don't talk about tourism at all, because Noel Lynch is really the guru in there. And we had thousands of people working in tourism and millions of dollars being brought here to Barbados. And we're here 14 years and nothing to show. You all should help me with what we had to show, We had the 30,000 jobs. We had EduTech, that without it, may the Lord bless me a motley. Without EduTech, our people would not be on the cutting edge as they are today. Going at the gas station and try to run the pump yourself if you don't know how to operate that. Even the glucometer, or whatever you call it, you have to have an idea of technology to use it. I'm a half a fool with it, so somebody got to help me if I had any diabetic situation. Almost every sphere of life, the technology is there. And we change schools, we refurbish schools, we build schools to make a difference in the quality life of Bajans. And they say, 14 years and nothing to show. A lot of them up there in the center that the cursing are borrowed for. And one of the ministers said that he's on a cave and he was in it working, and I would like nothing to happen to him or anybody in there. But the Labour Party, that happened under us. The Warrens building, the National Housing building in Country Road, that was another project under the Labour Party. The Justice Centre that has been taken over from in at the main yard. The Eric Holder Centre up in St. Joseph. And look at the roads. Lord have mercy, highway to way. Lord, you know that if we were the government, the flyovers would be in existence, and we'd be at the level of the people in the international world. And these people are just putting down Jersey barriers and digging up more Barbara Green. Digging up more Barbara Green. And you cannot tell what John Voice is doing. If you go over to Lawrence and you see that oblong about, it hurts. And I have had the privilege to pass there. I don't know if it's a privilege or unfortunate experience, I should say, to see a container truck making the turn and a van with tourists squeezing in the middle, nearly squeeze the guts out the people. And a minister with a big, big voice and just as big a head does not know how to properly design what should happen there. That is the Tom Adams Highway, and it should be named after him. And anybody could come and say what they feel about St. John Polyclinic. We will be the government, and we will determine what it will be named. They did not want to give a proper name of somebody in St. Joseph on the center up there. And they have given it to Eric Holder, who's the Attorney General in the United States. But we are not making any fuss about that. But when we have the privilege, we will do what we have to do. Because the Tom Adams Highway ended up being the ABC. And Cummins died so long ago before the idea of even the that big highway was even conceived. But the Dems will do it for you. We went down in Broad Street in Bridgetown and we built Independence Square, a statue of the Right Honorable Edward Walton Barrow. And we got cursed. We ain't do nothing in 14 years. We went on down when we did the Jubilee. Dame Billy Miller's proud. We built the houses, the high-rise houses, because she would always say, Bridgetown needs to have life in it at night. And you get the Pawn Side and you get the Kensington Lodge and even the country park towers over there that the Labour Party started. And Todd is Pomper setting that wicked son of a gun who sent out the letters to his people alone, telling them that he wants them to apply for the $10,000 amount. I received it on March 26 last year, but he wrote it on January 6th. And he's telling his constituents approximately 600 of these grants, totaling $6 million, must be disbursed within the next few months in order to access the IDB funding. I therefore look forward to your urgent consideration on this golden opportunity to enhance the quality of living conditions. A man that named P.T. Todd, that every time he gets up in Parliament, he's only talking about sewage all the time. Sewage all the time and pay toilets. And he wants to be self-centered, to be able to send a letter like this to his constituents in the city, be jinx and mine in Allen View are a part of the Housing Neighborhood Project. And my people in Allen View ain't getting nothing yet. So soon for now, you might not have any Harrison's Cave, because quite a few of them got paid toilets. And they will not like anything to happen to damage the stalagmites and the stalactites. And that is wonder of the world dream. But this government does not have the know-how. They don't have to know how to manage the economy. They don't have to know how to manage education, to go and spend $600,000 in an inquiry that the agency that should have done it before still has to go and do it. But he sends this to his constituents and has Barbados in an uproar because the people who matter that should get this financial grant have not been able to get it in the same way the Hurricane Lily, $17 million, built houses that were never damaged, or build new houses, according to my information, that people never had one. And I think it is wrong. I want you, ladies and gentlemen, do what you have to do. Do not be sidetracked by the Democratic Labour Party. According to Kenny, sidetracked. Don't be sidetracked by the Democratic Labour Party. They had their 5 years. You gave them that chance. And they have foiled up miserably. You now need to go out on February the 21st. Cast your vote for Maria Agard. And notice I did not say Agard Maria, because we don't think that the public of Barbados is illiterate. That posters could come saying the name of the opponent. Who is your opponent, Maria? The Pisa Verla? The Pisa Verla. Yeah? I saw mine down there, one, Hans Rollrick. I saw Paul James. And the others down there, that it really made me feel hurt to know that they have come up with their posters, that the rumor is in Barbados, it is alleged, that everything come up from it not cost you less in a container. I want to know if they pay duties to customs to bring in all that paraphernalia when they were unstuffing, according to my knowledge, the container over cost you less. I want you, ladies and gentlemen, go to the polls. Look for Dr. Maria's name. Her name will be the first name on the ballot paper. Wax, Palax, Maria Agard. Say not a word to anybody. The only person who will know for whom you vote is yourself and the Almighty. And we want, come February the 22nd, to be happy, to be joyous to know we have put the people of Barbados on a different plane by allowing them to get that stranglehold called the Democratic Labour Party, or those damn lying people, out of the House of Assembly, and decency, good governance, transparency, accountability, equity, truthfulness, and everything else will prevail, because the Barbados Labour Party did it already. And with God's help, He'll do it again for you. God will do it again. Have a blessed night, and thank you so much for listening. Over to you, Dr. Maria. I'm waiting to hold your hands and carry you up the steps of Parliament. God bless you.
Crime Son, Dirty Andrew. Grab soldier again. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Right now things dread, we voting for the red. Right now things dread, we voting for the red.